I can't.
We're alive. We're alive and we're live. Shalom. Good evening. Rose Hoy, ISTDP therapist,
Together,
psychotherapist, nurse,
together,
midwife for many
together.
years, amazing therapist, Dr. Tova Goldfein, chiropractor, rehab specialist, TMS, mind body, chronic pain. We are really working very hard to help people help themselves. Tonight, we're in Israel together.
Yes.
Together.
Together.
Rose has been visiting me and from Australia. It's been a wonderful 10 days. We've been working together with some clients. We've been doing some visiting. We've been doing some praying. And we've been really happy to be together and solidify what we created 3 years ago with TMS Roundtable. It's March, it was 3 years, thanks to Michael Galinsky, his help, and all the inspiration from all the other TMS mind body doctors. Anyway, tonight we thought to have a roundtable discussing.
What we'd like to discuss is the fact that most people who watch us or have read the Sino book, most of them don't get better immediately. Now, we've had some people on who do get better immediately. So what Tova and I decided we'd do tonight, rather than have another guest to give an example of things, we'd talk between ourselves and hopefully someone might join us on the chat and talk about the things that we can do to actually start mobilizing the willpower to change. Because, we can look at all the science. Yes, you can see the science, you can see the logic of it, but you can't apply it. And so many people follow all these talks and things, but just don't take it on board themselves, do they?
They get stuck there, like,
yeah,
they get
and that's
stuck.
what we want to talk about. The fact that getting stuck involves just observing and not giving themselves that time to actually breathe, consciously breathe, and draw their willpower to overcome this system that's within them. And, Tova, if you think about it, sometimes I know it sounds a bit weird, but by remaining unwell, it gives you some advantages, doesn't it?
That's the bittersweet. That's the truth. And we all know that sometimes it's harder. Like, how many clients have, the pain level went down, the anxiety level went up. And they said, I think I'd rather have the pain. I can't deal with my emotions. I can't deal with myself. I can't. And that's another level of, okay, so now you're getting to this fire. We're uncovering the smoke. So now, and then we're bringing up the word safety. But now that you're facing your fears, understanding your anger.
Yeah, no, well, not even that far yet, because you're not going to face your fears if you don't actually click in and go there, rather than be an observer. And that's why I thought the idea that there's an advantage of having chronic pain, because you don't have to go and see your mother-in-law or whatever, because you've got a bad back. So, yes, it saves me from doing all these things that I don't like doing, instead of asking myself, why don't I like going to see the mother-in-law? Because that's a simple question you need to ask yourself. It's such a simple question, but it's so hard to get there. And I thought, well, this is one of those moments that people need to have, isn't it? A moment to say, I'm going to do it. You're going to fall over, but you get up again. And, like one of the most profound things that we've got is the breath. We're going to breathe whether we're in pain or not. So it's the one thing that's internal in us, and what we can do is regulate it. Even if it's only 3 minutes for the first time, even if you put your timer on your phone and give yourself 3 minutes to consciously breathe, so your diaphragm is lifted and your vagal system is relaxed. 3 minutes. And then another day, maybe 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes, and not look at the pain. I'm not talking about the pain or anything else. I'm talking about what you can do to get your nervous system calmed so that you can start the work. Yeah. And often, isn't it, Tova, that people just don't, they're not prepared to give themselves those few minutes to breathe.
Well,
and yet it's an everyday thing.
Right.
Yes, if you don't breathe, you die.
Right.
So use it, harness it.
So this is one of course, we've talked about it in many shows. We talked about the breath. We talked about the parasympathetic nervous system. We've talked about the deeper breath as it moves the diaphragm and affects the vagus nerve, which is, they call the vagus nerve the wanderer. It's in Latin. It's fascinating how it's connected to all the organs. So how when that vagus nerve is activated,
and that's what's causing the symptoms.
Right.
So then it has to rest.
Right. So we're resting. Yeah. I mean, I don't have all the science about the vagus nerve, but what I do know is that when we're exhaling, the parasympathetic nervous system's activating the vagus nerve to help the relaxation, the digestion, rest.
Yeah, and that's why the extension of the breath, the slower extension of the exhale, is the important part, because you're controlling that. Instead of trying to control your pain, you're controlling your breathing. And when you concentrate on controlling your breathing, you're not thinking about the pain or the suffering or the symptoms. And it could be inflammation, could be any of those things. So when we use the word pain, it's a just a basic word to cover all the symptoms: headaches, back pain, elbow pain, shoulder pain,
any somatic symptoms that are being reflected in your body that are coming from a psychological cause. And as far as Burrs and I are concerned, on the record, anything chronic can benefit from these insights and tools. Yes. Yeah. So I want to go back to that, because when we're breathing, we're present, we're mindful. We're stopping, and this is a little bit of somatic tracking and pain processing therapy, but the most important thing is the breath brings us in the moment. Now, when Rose mentioned, well, I don't want to go see my mother-in-law, that's also me in the future. So we got to this is a very interesting tool. And when we study the presence process, it's actual, it's such a powerful mechanism to think about. If I'm worried about something in the future, you're not reacting, you're responding. Right. When I'm thinking about the future, I'm more reacting because I'm in the future. But if I'm aware that it's the future, then I can respond to the situation and figure out why you don't want to be in your mother-in-law's. I'm using the mother-in-law as a good. And the fact is, let's just say, for example, I have to go do something I don't like. I'm anticipating, I'm worried, I'm under stress, I'm going to have a symptom. Once I get to the place I don't like, it's honestly, it's not that, once I'm there in the moment, I'm experiencing something I didn't think I'd like, but I have to do it. So rather than conflict, just, be in the moment, be in that place where you thought wasn't going to be good, and go get through it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, that's true. But also, Tova, it's not, even if you're in a place that you don't particularly like visiting your mother-in-law or eating her cabbage or whatever, just being present to yourself is the important thing. Right, like I'm not comfortable. I don't like it. I wish I was somewhere else, but I'm not going to suffer. I'm not going to suffer. I'm just going to be through this, get through it, find some kind of gift in being here, find some kind of message, understand that I can adapt. Well, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Not, it's about just surviving it rather than resenting it. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Good. Surviving it rather than resenting it. Yeah. Yes. So that's the present process. That's accepting it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yes, it is accepting it, but it's also sometimes we have to do things that we don't really like, but we've got this obligation or commitment or family commitment or judge. Most of our life is full of those things. So that's why I'm saying about it. Yes. So how do we, and you know, in the power of now with the Eckhart Tolle work, I mean, there's a power in the now, and it has to do with pain and suffering. The power in the now.
Yeah.
And the breath is one thing that brings you to the power of now, to the power of the now, and the mindfulness, and also the awareness that I can be on the other side of this uncomfortable place.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It is uncomfortable, but I can go through it. Right. And I'm going to go through it, and I don't need my pain to keep me going.
Right.
I don't need my headache to actually be there. Am I clear?
Yeah, with that? Yeah. Well, or if my headache's there, what am I trying to escape? I'm here in this moment. I'm not comfortable.
And I hate this person.
Or whatever. Yeah. So why don't I just be with? Okay, I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
But the conflict is going on, and again, I love that Rose has brought up the last few weeks. She keeps bringing up about the fire and the smoke. So the smoke is that I'm uncomfortable. I really don't want to be here. And the fire is that I don't particularly want to be controlled by anyone. I don't want to be told by anybody, because all my life I was told what to do. So, okay, that's the fire. You want control. So here, the smoke is, I'm in the situation, I'm feeling symptoms.
And I'm going to back off.
Right.
Or I'm going to become unwell. Not consciously. Remember, all of this is not conscious. And that's why we want to bring this up tonight and not have a guest, to actually talk about that consciousness in us. And within that consciousness is a will to be well. You know, how do you frame it, Tova? The body heals itself. You know, the body keeps the score.
The body keeps the score.
Yes. If you give the body a chance, the somatic pain can go down without all the interventions. The most important thing is to give yourself that little break, and then the body will want to heal. But as Tova just said, if the inner voices are harming you and putting pressure on you to be unhappy, you're going to be unhappy, aren't you? You're going to be miserable. You're going to be criticizing yourself for going to visit the mother-in-law. You're going to criticize yourself for accepting the fact that you've got a mother-in-law or whatever, instead of saying to yourself, I've got a mother-in-law and this is part of the system. And as Tova said, we have to do lots of things that we're not that keen on. Well, we do them anyway.
Yeah, and two things come up. One is if you're creating your reality, okay, I'm going to visit my mother-in-law, I'm being a good spouse, I'm going to visit my mother-in-law. That's your reality. You just created it. So don't fight it. Don't fight your reality. Go through it. Accept that you're unhappy. And even if you have to act nice, you could be like, hey, I can even fake it till I make it. Like, we're smart. Your brain understands. And if you're connected and like, look, I'm not happy, I have to do this, but you know what? I'm going to make the best of it because I'm serving myself. I'm understanding this is not a happy couple of hours for me, but I'm doing a good, I'm helping. Look, it can go into other situations, but the point I want to make is that, lost my train of thought. Number one, I remember in a therapeutic process many years ago for myself, the therapist would be, well, why fight reality? You created this. And I'm not saying you're all please, I'm not blaming you for the pain, but we have an experience of our pain, which is our responsibility. And this is a biggie. We've created a situation. We've created a conflict. True. So we have an opportunity to observe that conflict and know that I put some pressure on myself because I don't want to go do something. I put the pressure on myself. I'm not saying I have to like it, but the honesty, the what I sometimes call being naked with yourself, being honest, say, hey, I don't like to do that, but I have to do it. And you know what? What serves me? Just get through the hour, take a deep breath, journal, find some gift out of it, serve yourself, be honest. And that's about the will. Let's go back to the will now, because if you know yourself and you're aware and you're more aware and mindful of who you are, what you like, what's going on, you'll be able to overcome these adversities, and they don't have to turn to pain. They'll just be anxious moments. I think that's a good point. I'm anxious about doing something I don't want, and I'm aware of it. So it doesn't turn to pain. I think it turns to pain when we're not understanding oneself.
I think also there's another part of that, and that is actually doing something in resentfulness, resenting the imposition of being sent to. I mean, I wish in a way I hadn't used an example of a mother-in-law, because I mean we're both mothers-in-law.
Right, find another example. Look, you have to go, meet with your boss, or you have to go to a situation, something you don't want to do. Look, the fact is there are many things in the day that we don't want to do, and that we don't feel we have control, because we don't get our way. We live in a world where we have a job, we have to go to school, we have to go to college, we have to show up, we have to be accountable, we have to go to the gym. Okay, we have to be responsible. We have to be accountable.
Yeah. Now come back, as you said, to the will to do this, because the will to do it is the hard part. And until you can actually observe what's going on and turn against it. And, we had a lovely conversation with a lady called Shelley the other day, and she read the Sono book. And what was so fascinating about it was it took her a couple of weeks to win herself over, but she decided that she no longer wanted to live with this pain, which I think she said was 7 years.
She said the fear of the pain, the fear of having the pain all her life was what gave her the will, which sometimes that's opposite for some of us. The fear of it stagnates me. For this particular personality, the fear of having it her whole life focused her to just accept.
Well, no.
The Sarno work.
Yes, to accept the Sarno work, but to also force herself beyond the suffering. She was a back pain lady, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she exercised, she moved, no matter how bad it was, she did it. And that's where we thought tonight we'd talk about this in a way that would allow people to just grasp the idea that you've sort of like got to grab it.
Well, she brought safety to her. She brought safety to herself from that road. That's the way she brought safety. She calmed her brain down by understanding that there was no negotiation.
Yes.
I don't want this pain. I don't want to live with this.
Okay, but step back a minute now. Okay. The method she used to do that is what's important for us to tell other people.
Right. Okay.
And the important thing is that the breath then, you don't have to buy it at the shop. You don't have to ask anyone's advice for it. It's there in plenty. Breathing. I hope it is anyway.
Okay.
Otherwise you won't be around for much longer. So utilize it.
Utilize the breath.
Utilize the breath. It's like the force of the ocean.
Yeah.
It's there.
It's powerful. It's powerful beyond, and it has to do everything with somatic tracking, belief. With imagination, with visualization, with period processing therapy. It's the core of probably the biggest insight and tool to help calm the brain down.
Yeah.
And
everything else flows off from it.
Right.
And it's an important thing to know that it's just so simple. And if you think when you have problems or pain or suffering, you only breathe up here. And when we consciously breathe, we draw in the diaphragm as well. And that's the important thing, drawing in the diaphragm so that the whole lung gets compressed and the stale air, the stagnant air. And if you think about, what's that movie called? Love Can Heal?
Love Heals.
Yes, Love Heals. It's the stagnation that we're getting rid of.
Right. The cold belly, the hot head, and bringing the heat to the belly. So the belly's like the core.
Yeah.
So and all the organs. It was really beautiful. Brain energy education was something what they were doing. It was this sort of tapping. And anyway, it was another somatic tool.
So that as you use this tool to just bring your lungs up and down, it's just
It's
so
exactly
simple.
Exactly. It.
Yeah.
Now. Okay, but I'm in pain, Rose, and I can't access my breath. So.
Well, what are you going to do? Switch it off.
Right. Well, no.
Switch it off.
No, I
and
can't.
Don't breathe
I can't.
anymore.
No, but the question is.
Stop.
Right.
Don't breathe anymore.
Right. No.
Don't breathe anymore. Stop breathing.
I want to go to another point. No, because people are people are raged. They're angry. They're angry.
Sure. But when I challenge you about not breathing anymore, what happened to you?
Well, I would love for people to be able to challenge themselves. Okay, so don't breathe. Like have that dialogue. Have that Greek.
Well, that's why I figured I'd do it.
The Greek
because
chorus.
Here we are saying just breathe.
Right.
So I thought.
Right. No, it's a great point.
Yes.
It's a relationship. It's a relationship with yourself, which I want to go to a second point of bringing safety, which I know this isn't going to sit well with some of you because you want to turn the YouTube, or you want to turn the video off because you feel like, what do you know about this? But the fire, 99% of the time, is the conflict between you and your body, between you and your past, your present, your future, between you and you. So that's where the solution is. Inside. It starts there, and it
permeates out.
Yes. Go ahead. You want to say something?
No.
Okay. Well, I want to go to the point of loving yourself.
Stop it.
And I know.
Stop it.
But it does, if you can look at it for a minute and see.
How can you love yourself?
You're right. But this is the science. The body wants calm. The body wants compassion. The body wants breath. The body wants.
Why would you want to, if you don't love yourself, if no one else loved you? Just think about it for a minute. Why would you want to breathe fully? Why would you want to give all that air into you, all that refreshment?
Because I want to trust me. I want to trust. I want to believe.
Yes. No. How do you like that?
Yeah.
Yes. You want to trust and believe, but why don't you do it?
I never.
Because I'm challenging you.
I never had because no one taught me.
Okay. And now I'm teaching you. And what happens? You think it's a good idea on paper, but we'll let someone else worry about it.
Well, it's, why, Rose, is it hard for us to love ourselves because we have a predictive coding that says disconnect?
Well, yes, but also if we haven't, if we've had a lukewarm sort of upbringing, I suppose you might put it, like if you're only good if you bring home A's on your report card, if you're only good if you're really good at sport, if you're only worthwhile and good for what you've said. Actually, I was reading this little article about children the other day, and the mother was saying, or the psychologist, who's a mother, was saying, if you say to your child, that was, you're a fantastic runner, and you won first prize, but that means that the child is seeing themselves only as worthwhile if they're doing a particular task. But if the mother or the caregiver says, oh, that must have been hard for you. How do you think you felt as you were lining up to do this work or to do this run? Then the emphasis from the caregiver is about the child's feelings, not about their achievements. And that's why it's hard to love ourselves.
I understand.
Because if we don't have something to show, we're not lovable. Now, is there anyone out there at all that would please join us and make some comments or ask us questions or tell us their experience? Because the very important thing is to have other people give you a
perspective.
Yeah, perspective or a heads up on how to go about this.
Yeah.
Because the therapist giving you the instructions doesn't mean that you're going to go ahead and do it. But maybe a colleague or someone who's in a similar position who found relief will give you that impetus to go ahead. And I mean, like we came to this simple thing. We could talk about journaling, we could talk about all those other things, but you can't do those until you can actually give yourself a chance to just breathe. Yeah. And just breathing will give you a chance to actually respond to issues rather than try to defend yourself, which is about reacting. Remember, every time you defend yourself about something with people you care about or love, it means that you're actually not responding, you're reacting. So, these words we use all the time, but they're applicable all over the place. And none of the things we do in isolation are done in isolation, should I say. So if you're always defending yourself and always sort of saying, well, it was so-and-so's fault, or why didn't this happen, or why didn't that happen, we're not connecting to ourselves. And that's why we suggested, or as we were talking about tonight, that we mainly talk about the will to give yourself the chance just to breathe.
And look, we're seeing this. We're seeing this happen. Yeah, we're seeing this happen. That look, big T's, little T's. We've had traumas. They can heal. You can heal your trauma. We're not getting rid of it. We're not stuffing it. We can.
Well, you see, that scenario is a small T trauma, because the child's coming home with the medal instead of. That was a hard job, you did a really great job, I'm really proud of you. How did you feel as you were trying to get that whatever it was done? It must have been hard work for you, or was it easy? So you're getting back to the child's inner feelings. And unfortunately, Tove and I were talking the other day about Dr. Spock. Was it Dr. Spock? And how it was all about how you control the child and how you have controlled crying and let the child cry it out.
But it was a certain method of parenting that our parents' generation, everybody did. And then we realized that it screwed some of us up, but we're not here to blame Spock or the parents.
Well,
I think what I'm saying is that these traumas
they're small. You don't even know them.
But they can heal. They may be the trigger or the anxiety driving the pain or the symptom. But with this work and with the work of so many amazing coaches and health professionals, we can heal these traumas by the breath, by awareness, I think, look, for some of us, there's work called forgiveness. There's Dr. Fred Luskin, Forgiveness for Good. If we can forgive, here's the thing, what I'm trying to say. Acknowledging the trauma, understanding the trauma, going through it, accepting it, being aware of the responsibility of what our parents did.
It's about the will.
I want to talk to you. Tell me about, how do we heal that trauma and move on from that? How do we integrate that trauma and move on from that so it doesn't stop us from living our life?
We're stopping a victim of it because we're adults.
Okay, this is what I want to hear. Stop being a victim of it because we are adults. We understand it. We accept it. We take responsibility. And like, Gabriel Maté says, it's this experience of the trauma is what we have to come to terms with.
True.
The experience of it.
It's taken another step. The experience of it has actually taught us to be different people or to be strong people. And as we start to sort of see that story unfolding, we can see that we've got a certain amount of resilience. Some people have more than others, and that varies with people. And that's why, again, go back to that consciousness, the sense of conscious, this is within me. And I've got this willpower to just do this 10 minutes and then build it to 15 minutes, to get up 15 minutes earlier and do it in your pajamas. Just do that breathing, whatever it takes. Because that's what Shelley decided, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Whatever it takes, I'm going to do it.
Right.
and I'm going to fight my way through this, and I'm going to get out. Yeah.
It's like some of our guest in the earlier days was, this woman who was a middle-aged fighter, and she had horrible back pain. She couldn't fight. She couldn't box. And she now has a therapy method called knockout wellness. Her way is knocking it out. In a week or two, we hope to have a guest who's doing logotherapy, which is the therapy that Viktor Frankl created. Now, here's a man.
Man's Search for Meaning.
Man's Search for Meaning. Here's a man who we can't even talk about his trauma. His trauma was beyond words, being in a concentration camp. And his decision of how to deal with the trauma in the moment of it was, I have a choice.
To stay alive or to give up?
Yeah, I have a choice between my thoughts, I'm screwed, I'm in a nightmare, I'm just going to give up. That's my thoughts. And my action, I'm either going to take another breath, I'm going to take a piece of this bread, I'm going to give a piece to the guy next to him. That was the action. Between a thought and an action, I have a moment. And in that moment was freedom. And I bet you he breathes in that moment.
Well, he had to.
Of course.
Yeah. Can you put up Judith's
Yes. So
comments?
thank you for listening to that, because I hope to bring this woman on who wrote a book called In Search of Healing. And she's a logotherapist. Judith, thank you for commenting. I'm going to bring your comment up here. We're going to read it. So helpful. After 1.5 years of healing work, I'm still learning so much. I know I am just now understanding how to calm my nervous system and how to really love myself. I hear so many newcomers who seem to want immediate relief from pain, but don't understand the work that is needed.
Thanks, Judith.
It's very, very, very important what you're saying. And enormous amount of patience with yourself, enormous amount of clarity that this is a process, this is a journey. And Judith, if you want to share anything else about your journey, I mean, we're here. And how did you calm your nervous system, if you want to answer? And thank you for pointing out that we all want immediate relief, because, again, pain is counterintuitive. Pain means something's wrong. It should go away. Not neuroplastic pain. Neuroplastic pain has a deeper, more smoke and deeper fire. But we can still address it and access it and respond to it, and it still doesn't have to run our life. Thank you so much, Judith, for responding. It's good to see you on the show. So I wanted to mention, and I'll find this infographic where there's a little child with he's got first place, and he's sad. And the little child, the second place person has second place, and she was smiling. That was the infographic to show that the second place person was happy. To point what you were saying, that it didn't matter, like losing, winning, and we do live in a very competitive society. Lose, win, better, worse, fat, skinny, smart, dumb. Like, we do live in that society, and it
called duality.
Yeah, duality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it is a beautiful understanding of how we grew up, accepting it. Anyway, I wanted just to comment on that. Judith started with Curable, then did the 12-week program, learned a lot, read Alan Gordon book, and now working with Danny and doing yoga.
Yeah. But what made her decide? Judith, what made you decide? Because that's what we're talking about.
What gave you the will?
Decision that you were going to overcome these issues.
Well, she has the movement with the yoga. She has the breathing.
All the resources are out there. All the resources. Right. And Judith's mentioned a few of them.
Right.
So what happened to Judith that she said no more?
Right. Like
more.
What was the turning point?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And even when you have that turning point, doesn't mean it's going to be all over. It means you're running your journey. The journey isn't running you.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, tell us more, Judith.
She had an epiphany when she learned about my body. Put it on the screen for a minute.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us about the epiphany, if you don't mind. And thank you for interacting with us. This is lovely.
It's wonderful that you did curable and that you really learned it. And many people will have, this is what Alan Gordon calls an extinction burst. They'll feel better, have an epiphany, and then they'll drop again. But this is part of the process because the mind is we've given the mind this power to control us. So it looks like, Judith, that you, I don't like to use the word control, but that you were able to understand the process of the brain and to build a new pathway. I had an aha moment. Good. And I saw my 20 years of pain like a slideshow. And I saw in that instant, it was all mind, body.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. That is a wow, isn't it?
It was like the woman last week, Cynthia, who had enormous trauma and drama in her life. And she saw a picture of herself.
Oh, that's
she had
right.
never seen a picture of herself. And that was enough for her.
Well, what she actually saw was that there was more to that picture than just the picture. And that changed. Yeah, she didn't want to look like that anymore. And she wanted to find out who she really was. And it was such a lovely way she described it, of seeing that picture of herself and looking pretty downtrodden, I suppose you might say, and thinking there's more to this, there's more to me than this. And that just turned it around for her. Yeah. And that's like with Shelley the other day, having 7 or 8 years of whatever of back pain, and instead of looking at what was causing the back pain in the past and just thinking about the pain and analgesia, she started thinking about what the fire underneath the smoke was, and said, I'm going to get out. Right. I'm going to put that fire out, and then the smoke will dissipate.
And you see how we all have fear. Fear is a human condition. And again, please let us remind you that fear is processed in the brain, the same place where pain is. And the brain does not differentiate between a psychological threat and a physical threat. Remember that. It's a very important fact. Because sometimes just a reality check. Oh,
I'm not crossing the highway.
Yeah.
I'm just going to visit my mother-in-law.
I have a sensation. It does not feel comfortable. It's not typical. But if I had fear, it's going to turn into some big trauma. If I go and get an x-ray and I go and call, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with an x-ray, I call the doctor, but just put it into perspective. There's 30 questions on some of the questionnaires from PBDA about whether you have TMS or not. You can answer those questions and see. Are you somebody that, consistently has symptoms? There are all these different questions that are helpful because the education is very powerful. And it sounds like, Judith, you were able to really educate yourself. So what happened was, what Shelley did was she channeled her fear, because we feel the fear and we get stuck, or like in the book, feel the fear and do it anyway. She felt the fear and did it anyway. And we all have that ability to be that fearless with ourselves. But pain is scary. She saw the pain, she had the pain.
Okay.
And
so then go back to breathing. As soon as the pain's scary, go back to breathing. And that's why it's so important, this just this simple thing that we own, that we don't have to get it from anywhere. Yes, Shelley saw the pain. Judith saw the pain and had these aha moments. Now, I don't know, Judith, if you recognize it or not, but breathing and Danny's yoga is about the breath for a start off. Yeah. So that's the starting point. That's the first step in the recovery. Yeah. And if you think about it, when you were in trouble as a kid, you held your breath. It just occurred to me. When the kid gets into trouble, they sort of hold their breath. And actually some little ones actually hold their breath to the stage that they faint. So that's why, I like to bring up the idea of the breath first. The breath first, always, every single day.
So another,
even when you're well.
Regarding the yoga that Judith did and the wonderful work that Danny Fagan's doing with regulating the nervous system, so the breath is inner movement. It's mindfulness, it's blood, it's oxygen, it's the breath is creating enormous chemical change in the brain that can bring healing. And if you want to add a little movement, you want to raise your arms, you want to dance, you want to move around, you want to create a little exercise, a little go out for a walk, go out with nature. This is another.
That's a meditative state.
Right, right. Take yourself away from the environment.
Yeah.
This is a Hanscom. Dr. Hanscom will talk about various things that will bring down our anxiety stressors. We're stressed. Pain will cause stress. We have anxiety. Anxiety and pain are similar in many cases. So how do we bring these stressors
the pain
down?
Actually stops the acknowledgement of the anxiety, doesn't it, in a way?
The pain stops the acknowledgement. Yeah. If we have pain, we don't have to deal with our anxiety.
Yeah. Can you put Judith's thing up?
Breathing and meditation are key. When she had flare-ups, she recognized the fear and tried to breathe to relax for even a few minutes.
Exactly. Thanks, Judith. Yes. You see, that's the important thing. We talk about all these books and all these things, but in actual fact, it's in us. The body heals itself once you're aware.
Right.
So,
and what the breathing and meditation does is it connects you to yourself, and that can be very frightening.
But the starting point.
It's a starting point.
Yeah.
Because this is the relationship that your body's been disconnected from. Yeah. And Rose and I have talked about, I'm grateful for he wasn't a doctor, but I'm grateful for the gentleman with the long hair who was connected to Davenlu. He was lovely. He was retired. He talked about the unconscious and the conscious mind.
Oh, Marvin
Scorman. What an amazing show. You must look up Marvin Scorman on our YouTube. It was the first time that I was able to understand the concept, and I use it all the time. The relationship between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. When there's a relationship that you're aware of and you're able to observe, you're on your healing journey. It's a powerful tool, and it's, I guess you use it a lot in ISTDP.
I use it in ISTDP all the time. Yeah, watching the person's breathing, watching the person's tension in their muscles, watching to see if they've got smooth muscle anxiety, if they've got reflux or pain in the stomach, or if they become disrupted and they can't think clearly. So the breath is so important. Yeah. And I mean, all right, I use it for ISTDP, but we need to use it for everything, whatever it is. If we're making a decision, especially sort of a spur of the moment decision or whatever, a few minutes breathing will calm the mind and allow the best for the person to come up. Yeah.
And I think if we take the premise, which I'm on the record saying that the body is the unconscious mind. I mean, this is what some of the scientists, this is what Candace Pert discovered, that we're not going to argue for argument's sake. The body is the unconscious mind, and then we have the conscious mind. So if we can, again, we create a relationship between the conscious mind and the body. We do it through the breath. We do it through movement. We do it through calming. We do it through understanding how pain is reflecting in our body because of anxiety. And this is back to the basis of the mind and body are intimately connected. And I know so many of us and the listeners out there, how we got our pain. There's no two stories the same. Old, new, after a run, after someone died, after surgery. It doesn't always connect it to that thing. It's just that thing, that the straw that broke the camel's back. It was another great show that we had with what's his name.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we could wind this story up now tonight. Now, again, I'd like to go back and retract what we talked about. The idea that once we have the education, that's one thing. But then after the education, how am I going to apply it? Many people read the stuff and read it and read it and read it, but don't bring it back. And the key, is there a key here? The key to your heart is through your breath for a start off. And if you can't breathe and if you're too restless and you can't understand that it's okay to let all those crazy thoughts go through your head and just keep breathing, just give yourself 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And then, as Judith said, it gives you a chance to actually do the yoga. What else did she do? All the other things that she did. Yes. And the breathing is a form of meditation as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And when you breathe, you're
Here, look what she's written as well. Thank you so much, Judith, for interacting with us. Can you pop that on the screen?
Yeah. Oh. Is that a relative of yours?
Yes.
Does he have chronic pain? Does he want to talk about his chronic pain?
No, I don't think he does, no.
Judith had lost touch with her nervous system and unaware of how dysregulated my system was. Always overdoing taking care of others.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we're always saying yes to
whatever
others, the body says no.
Yes. Judith, in a way, let's use that example of going to visit the mother-in-law for a moment. Always overdoing taking care of others. Do you think that if you now reflect on that and sort of see that the taking care of others somehow overlapped your needs, I've sort of
taking care of others it takes you away from yourself.
Sure, but sometimes you've got to be involved with others. So that's where I'm trying to come from. There are ways that you can actually do the taking care of others, but step back and only do what you can do. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Right. Yes, yeah. Can you say good morning to Jack?
Yes, good morning, Jack.
Yeah, type it.
Is that the Brian's husband of Brian's dad? Oh, I'm so happy to see you, but it's early in the morning in Australia.
Yeah, but he's an early riser.
Jack. Very nice. There was something I wanted to say to
Judith.
To Judith, yeah. This is an interesting concept, and it's helped a lot of people when they are aware of how their nervous system is dysregulated. Can you connect that to feelings, Rose?
Say that again.
When a nervous system is dysregulated, how does that help us with our feelings? Because it's an interesting concept that's being used a lot.
Us, doesn't it? It saves us. If we're dysregulated, well, we've got no way of figuring out what our feelings are.
Right, so we can focus on the dysregulated nervous system and not our feelings.
Yes, which is better. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But it's better than feeling angry or feeling sad or getting mucked up about how I love this person that's mean to me or I want to be mean to them or whatever. Yeah, this conflict, this internal conflict that goes on there. So, yes, the pain's better than that. And actually, over the years, many people have said, I'll hang on to the pain because it means I don't have to face my feelings. Okay. What did Estella say to us?
Estella, thank you for commenting. Hi, I left my husband because we had a bad dynamic and I was hoping my chronic pain would go away. Aha. It's been a month and I still have the same chronic pain. Any thoughts?
Estella, maybe you better talk to me after hours.
Yeah, but anyway, this is a good, Estella, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Rose, I'd like to say something, but go ahead.
Well, I mainly want to say that read Judith Parker's scenario.
No, I'd like to say, Estella, that you by leaving your husband, you were hoping, because that wasn't really you did an action which was very positive. You physically, remove the
Left.
stress.
Yes.
But are you in touch with and responding and having a relationship now with the anxiety and the feelings around the relationship? Because you can remove the subject, but you still have to deal with yourself.
Yes, it's an internal thing.
So are you looking at your relationship with everyone in your life? So it's good that you removed your husband. I'm sure that your pain shifted. Maybe it didn't go away, but I imagine it shifted. So maybe that was the smoke and your husband represented, but what's the fire?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what your body's saying.
Yeah, probably. But you've also got a new set of problems, setting yourself up separately again and all that breakup that goes on with it. So that's why I thought if you want to, I'm quite happy to chat to you. And not tonight, but maybe tomorrow or a time that you're free, because the pain probably won't go away, because the conflict you had then, you've now got to set yourself up with other things. So it's going to raise the anxiety, so the pain's going to come back more. You got rid of one anxiety, but the other anxiety has come in to take its place.
But I think, Estelle, I want to do a little, Estelle, I want to give you a little bit of just a cheerleader a little bit. Like you if you made that decision, then be responsible for the decision you made, and that you made a step towards your health, and that having the pain going away as the reward may not be, you're not ready for it, but you did do something. You made a step.
Yeah, but she's got a new now set of problems.
But don't beat yourself up. Accept that you did something. You made a step. You moved forward. You made a change, which is not easy, and that your pain didn't go away. Well, you're on this journey. Just don't lose hope. Don't feel guilty. Just accept the reality that this is a journey, and then there's something else going on. But honor yourself for the responsibility you took in to create health in your relationship. And maybe now it's just between you and your body that you removed the trigger, because we do have to deal with the fire.
Yeah, but she's got a new trigger now.
Well, it's not a new trigger. Maybe it's just uncovering another layer of the onion.
Mm-hmm. We don't know Estella's circumstances, but it's not just easy to walk away from that lot of conflict, because there's going to be other conflicts. As you know, your change of relationship with your joint friends, maybe moving to another area, moving your kids to another school. There's so many other things that are going to be. Might have got rid of the primary one, so don't look for the relief of your pain at the moment. Just start settling what's happening for you. That's all I'd say. And that's what I'd like to, say in private. But I wanted to leave that as a private thing rather than a public thing. So
thank you, Estella, for coming on and sharing with us. Yeah. Rita, I always love seeing you here. Rita's actually a wonderful coach. She and another woman healed themselves from CRPS, been on our show 2 or 3 times, and have a website together about healing CRPS, and which is just an unusual autoimmune condition. And Rita comments a lot with very wise, beautiful, inspiring thoughts. Reducing daily stressors will help promote recovery.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What I was saying though, Rita, at the moment, if Estella thinks that the pain is going to go away, the stresses, she's got a different bunch of stresses at the moment. Yeah. So that's where I was coming from. Yeah. The primary stress might be gone, but setting off on a new journey is always stressful.
Whereas you taught me a lot about, if we have relationships we have players. So we have my husband, we have my mother, we have my father, we have my boss, I have my past, I have my present, I have my relationship with God, relationship with so we have these relationships and we see the pattern.
They cause suffering.
And we see the pattern. So if I remove one of them, the pattern's still there. And that's where, Estelle, you could feel hope and belief that you will be able to understand it and integrate this pattern that maybe you thought by removing one of the players would help your pain, but the pattern's still there. And the beauty of it is that you can heal that pattern by observing, recognizing, accepting, having compassion. And if you haven't spoken to Rose yet, she might be able to give you some insights to help you through it. Wishing you all the luck. And I'm so happy to see people on the show. I know it's the middle of the day in New York, which we love to go live in New York at night. In fact, in May, we will be having an evening show in New York. Rose will go on her own when she's back in Australia, and we'll have some shows together when we're different time zones. So we all appreciate you coming on in the middle of your day and talking with us. I love it. I love when it's me and you, and we get to talk to some people about the Matrix, about the divine concerts, anyway, someone else is saying hello to Rose. Hope you're having a wonderful time. Can't wait to come back. So we have some of Rose's fan club here. This is like, the Monkey Mouse fan club, Rose's fan club. Anyway, so it's great for Rose and I to be together. And we're also very excited. We're working on a workbook, TMS ISTDP workbook. In a few months, we're excited to put our work together and support you in this journey, and excited to continue the TMS Roundtable weekly as long as we can. Keep coming to visit us. Estelle, you wanted to make another comment? My life is less of a struggle now. I'm facing loneliness now, which I'm scared of.
Yeah.
But I have a better chance to heal my dependency on my husband.
Yes, exactly. And just accept, that's where I've come. You're going to have other stressors at the moment. Accept them, because it's the relationship that was scary and difficult is gone. But mostly people don't always. There's often a tail to it, like financial and all of those things. So you've got all of that stress as well, or maybe you're through that. But that now you're facing your loneliness, which is part of the reason why you'd have the pain, because facing your loneliness is very difficult. And a part of that is having that will that I am going to face my loneliness. And every single day I'm going to be lonely. And it's okay. Loneliness is not something to fear. Loneliness is an an opportunity to see who I am. So all blessings to you, my darling.
Thank you so much, Estella, for opening up your heart here in our safe little space, TMS Roundtable. So, we're available on our Facebook page, our email. We offer complimentary consultations to help people on their journey. Oh, Gracie, so good to have your presence here. So good to have your presence, Gracie Rudolph. I love when I see you here. And we'll hope to see you again next week. And any questions, any comments?
Put Rita's up, because it's the most important thing.
What Rita say? This?
Yep.
Enjoy your own company.
Yes.
So it's almost like the Greek chorus becomes this calming, flow of, hello, fear. Come, let's have coffee. Anger, come in and, shame, come, let's just be together. That's kind of like, because we're all, what does Michael Galinsky say? We have this human condition. We have this condition called being human. So none of us are immune to have gone through ups and downs. And I think what makes Rose and I an amazing therapist, that we've gone through our own ups and downs and
exactly
on our journey.
Yes.
And I'm grateful to have Rose as a friend and a colleague, and so lucky to have her sitting here next to me. Judith, thanks again for sharing. Have a wonderful afternoon and evening wherever you are. And God willing, we'll see you next week.
Good
All the
night.
best.